Babes Reading Books Book Club. I think we nailed that one.
Oh.
You like our vibes.
It's kind of fun.
They're so different.
They're totally different.
You guys are a watermelon. And
Oh yeah. You're the seeds.
It's so cute.
What's up, book nerds? The babes are back in town reading a brand new book for the Babes Reading Book Club. I'm Roxanne.
I'm Vic,
I'm Nadia.
And together, we're the babes.
Babes.
With you.
here to talk about books.
Books.
Exactly.
And
So,
today,
we got a special. Oh,
month's
sorry. Go.
this month's book was my pick, The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn, a little historical fiction piece. How fun, guys. Fun fact about this book, I actually read it on our way to Chicago. So I literally spent 6 hours straight reading this book. One sitting, I did it. That's a fun fact for you guys.
Yeah. You pulled
That's
through.
a fun fact.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I've never really done that before.
I could never do that. I would simply throw up.
I don't know how I did it, to be honest. I was just having a good day, and once I realized I wasn't sick, I was like determined to finish it.
Nice.
Like at all costs, I was gonna finish this.
Honestly,
And you did
ideal
it.
for the road trip. Like,
Yeah.
such a good way to spend it.
And it literally took up the whole time, so I was
Yeah, so it
chilling.
worked out perfectly for you, honestly, in the end.
Mhm.
But yeah, I, on the other hand, didn't read it all in one sitting. I probably could have physically, but I just didn't have 6 hours. When I read this book, it was peak of me having like 17 things to do every single day, but I pulled through and I finished it,
Just a busy
I think in like
gal.
2 weeks, something like
Wow.
that. So, but like, obviously you're not reading it straight up for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But overall, so I'm gonna be honest.
Overall, at the time,
No.
overall rating.
No, it's not time. The entire time. So if you go back, watch last week's episode on our YouTube channel at Two Girls Being Bros. Follow us on all our socials. So last week's episode, I pretty much roasted the heck out of this book because under the premise of it being called a historical fiction. Okay. I don't even know if we could call it a historical fiction because it's based on a true story.
Yeah, but they're all based on. But they're all like yeah, they're
Right?
all
So
based
like
on
for
a
me it
true
was like
story.
a historical fiction but not fiction.
Yeah, but it's still
So-
like it's still exaggerated and like
Yeah, but
made
it
up
just
with
caught me off guard,
characters.
so I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it.
Oh yeah, I guess both of your experiences with how is it with your first time reading a historical fiction?
Yeah, I mean, very
What- is it what you
pleasantly
expected?
surprised. No, but kind of like I guess there's like some combat scenes which I expected, but then there was also like a nice like mystery like spy plot, and there was also a lot of romance which I love. So
I had it all. So for me, my first line is so far much better than I expected. However, I didn't like it's not what I expected. There's parts that I really liked and parts that I really didn't like. So I was like every chapter was different. I was like, I don't know if I like this, I don't know if I like that, blah 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 blah. But overall, like definitely better than not what I was expecting at all in the slightest.
in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah, it does sound kind of like not. Doesn't sound like what it is, basically. Should we go ratings?
Yeah.
Okay.
You go first?
I'll go first since it's my
Since
book.
it's your book.
Okay, so this book, I am going to give it a 3 out of 5. Pretty low down there. Oh,
I'm shocked.
I know.
I think I know why, but keep going.
Because as a historical fiction reader, I've read plenty before. This is definitely the least favorite one I've ever read, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Wow.
kind of disappointed when I was reading it because like I said it last time, but I decided to take a chance and pick one I didn't read yet because like I wanted to read a new book too instead of just picking one that I knew was really good. But now I wish I picked one that was really good to like show you guys like what a really good historical fiction is. And like don't get me wrong, like literally this author, the other book she wrote is one of my favorites ever.
The Rose Code.
The Alice Network.
Oh, whoops. Close enough. The Rose Code is a different one, I swear.
But yeah, so like just in comparison to like all the ones I've read, it was my least favorite. Like it was still good. Like I still found good. I still was able to read it. There was kind of like a midway point that was like I felt there was kind of like there was a lull, like a bit. Like it hit like a point where like nothing was really going on. And, like, that's pretty rare for these type of books because they're always, like, jam-packed. Like, everything is action. But, like, halfway through, I kind of felt like I was drifting a little bit bored in the middle. But I did like the main character. I did like the bounce back between, you know, the letters of the Mrs. Roosevelt and then the chapters of the Huntsman. Not Huntsman.
The Marksman.
Marksman.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So I did like that. But yeah, I think I was just overall just a little bit disappointed that, I don't know, it just didn't live up to my expectations. I don't want to call, like, the war dry, but, like, this one I felt a little bit dry, the storyline.
World War II is so dry.
I know, right?
So
like, I was like, not enough
Yeah.
murder. I was thinking the same thing when I was learning about it. I was like, not enough death.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It was different, too, because I felt this one was really, really in combat, where other ones I've read haven't been like that, like, as much. So I don't know. It was just kind of let down. Like, I had really high expectations, and they just weren't met. And I kind of wish I gave you guys another one, but that's okay.
Nadia, you go next.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm gonna redeem the book because I really liked it. I gave it a 4, I think. So, which makes me think I should try your other ones because I feel like I'll like them even more. Like if I like this one. Yeah, I liked the different like voices. I thought that was cool, and just the main character. She's like a strong woman and a great leader, and like it's cool that it's based on a real person too. We love that, and it takes place in Ukraine, which we love also.
Yeah. My turn.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So I'm giving this a 2.75. Okay.
Wow.
And here's the thing. So it passes because when the book was good, it was great, but when it was bad, it was horrible. I don't like how it was based on a real person because, especially, not to be like, this is no offense to this author, I don't believe someone who doesn't understand and didn't live the conflict they're talking about should not be talking about it. And there's many points in this book where I was like, especially what's going on in Ukraine right now, this book is an exact representation of why she shouldn't have wrote it. If I think a Ukrainian person should have written about it, not her, or at least minimum had the person she was writing about double check the book, but she was dead, right? So I was like, just pick either someone alive or go complete fiction or go complete nonfiction. I don't like how she's presenting this as though like bits of truth and then bits that are fake, because the reader doesn't know the difference. So I really didn't like that. But now, so like that was just like part of it. I tried to take that part away from it, like from my ranking, and now just as a book, so many lulls. Like I felt like the book was going like this. Like there was times where I'm like, yes, yes. And then like there was a good chunk of time where I was like, what did I read? Like I was like, it felt like I was like, what's going on? But when it was good, it was really good. But when it was bad, I was like, I didn't like the way she flipped through the things. Like I felt like it was very inconsistent between going like from the marksman to Ludmila's perspective, or what do they call her? Mila. To Mila's perspective, to the Roosevelt woman's perspective or whatever. I didn't like how it was very inconsistent, and like I don't know, I felt the inconsistencies were like, I was so confused at times, and like not that I wasn't keeping track, like I was like keeping track of it all, whatever. But I did like the character, like I did like how like she was strong and everything, and like I liked how, I'm not gonna reveal the ending, but I liked what happened at the very end. I was like, when she got him, I was like, let's go. Like, you know, I was like cheering for her, but then like there was just so many points in time I was like, what am I reading? Like I was like sitting there and I was like, what's going on, you know? But so that was just my my interpretation of it. So, but overall, honestly, much better than I thought it was going to be. It's not at all what I thought it was going to be. So I actually would read more from her, just because like this topic specifically, I was like, this is the kind of stuff that I feel like people should write about if they don't actually, like if they didn't live it. But there was like good bits where like she did talk about like some truths, but I was like, for the most part, I'd be like, try to stay away from that. But honestly, not too bad. Like it did take me off guard how it was more non-fiction than fiction though, which I was not ready for. I was expecting like a Harry Potter type thing, but now with carriages instead of flying broomsticks.
Historical
No. That's what I pictured. Like when she said historical fiction, I thought it was gonna be like Harry Potter, like fiction,
Got it.
just like tossed way back when, you know, with like bonnets.
makes
So
sense.
that's what I was picturing.
Yeah, I
so,
think
but overall, the genre doesn't seem that bad. I'm down to give her another shot, like the author,
Yeah, her other one's really good.
because she's a good writer. It was just like this story, I think in particular, I think it just like rubbed me the wrong way, and then and then there was just like lulls, and then the confusion, and I was like, I feel like it shouldn't be this way. So, but overall, when the writing was good, it was phenomenal. So I was like, that's why 2.75, not 2.5. It passes with a little some.
Extra point.
But yeah.
0.25, sorry. But I was gonna say, I was watching an interview with the author, and like apparently Mila like wrote a memoir. So
Yeah,
like
that's what she
that's
based
where she
on.
was like, yeah, she was basing it off of that. So that might be cool to read
Yeah.
too.
But then like, so the thing is actually funny story. When I was tutoring one time, they were saying how like people, even like in their memoirs, like they were worried that people were gonna read them, so they censored themselves. And that's why like some stuff, if it was
Yeah.
published, especially if it was published by the Soviet Union,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's a good point. If it wasn't like an auto, I
Like
don't know the
she-
difference between autobiography and memoir. But did she wrote the memoir and then someone else published it? Is the
Yeah.
difference? Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, there's definitely like some sort of censorship in it, which I feel like should have been a little bit more due diligence on the author.
Yeah.
Just because like I was recently like reading about stuff like that, which I was like valid, and I like I'm not saying like the Soviet Union's the only people who did that. Like everyone does that, obviously. So that's why I was like, like head scratch. But yeah, it was like based on like the stuff that she found in her notes and stuff. So which is pretty cool, but still.
Yeah.
But overall, honestly, I did like Mila. Like I was rooting for her the whole time, rooting and tooting. And yeah, so I guess let's get into it.
Yes. Okay, I'll put her down. Hold it.
Sure, I'll hold her.
So you get your notes.
Yeah. Because you guys always have notes. So. Me too. Don't worry, guys. I got prepared.
Yeah, guys, I wrote these on the way to Chicago, so I could help read it out. So we have the characters. So we have Mila, the main character, who this is about, basically follows. Then there's little Slavka, her son.
Yeah.
There is. Okay,
Alexei?
Alexi's there
Alexei.
too. What's the name of her first husband?
Alexei.
Okay, so they're both
and then
Alexei.
the other one's Leonia.
Leon, but his real name, but he went by
Leonia.
Alexei. Yeah.
No. His real
Leonia.
name was Alexei, but he went by
But-
Leonia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry,
I'm
I was
gonna
just
butcher
saying
that
it,
name
like,
the whole
very-
time.
I was like, oh, it's Lyonya.
I've never heard the name, so I was like Leonia.
Leon.
I was like, who was her husband?
Oh, I'm just gonna say Leon.
Yeah.
Because I'll butcher that.
Leonia.
Okay.
So Alexei is her first husband, who is a doctor, and then her second husband ends up being Leon. His name's also Alexei. So that also I was like, just pick a name.
That's what I'm saying. I
like,
don't-
what was the point of that?
Yeah.
Like I get like maybe there's like a deeper like, oh, she re-found her love with the I don't care.
Yeah.
What's the point? Like
I
you
was
could have just like
confused.
it just seemed a little useless. Even if it was in her memoirs, change that bit. It's tacky. It's tacky, Mila.
That should be the fiction part of this.
Why would you want to freaking have the husband with the same name? But whatever.
It's true.
And then we have Lena, her female friend that she made in the war zone. I have this person named Maria. I have no memory of this person, so I think they were
I
irrelevant.
remember.
Oh, okay.
It was Should I explain? Okay, it was this girl who they stayed at her house, at her family's house, and she had been like assaulted by the German army, and she like was like an inspiration to Mila because she was like, kill them all, and then Mila was like, that's what I'm doing this for.
Yeah.
Got it.
Fair.
Okay, so that there was relevance. I just didn't write the relevance down to her name. And then there's also Kostya, who is her her shooting partner. I forgot what they're called.
Her sniper partner.
sniper
like,
partner.
pretty much.
Yeah, so those are the main characters. I wrote them down because I was having trouble keeping up with all the characters, to be honest. But so basically the book starts off with Mila, and she's at a shooting range with her first husband, Alexei, and her son, and typical egotistical male believes a woman should be in the kitchen. Write that down.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't think that?
Can you give us a minute?
We're actually zoom out. We're in the kitchen.
But yeah, it's basically they're in the shooting range. basic egotistical like male, like bad vibes all around, like doesn't care about his son. That's
Bad vibe.
Classic man on
Bad
Father's Day. Nonetheless.
So I meant classic egotistical male, not that.
Not just classic male.
It's egotistical.
Sure.
We know the truth.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically we realize that she got pregnant really young. He's like 30 and she's like 16 or something.
Yeah,
So,
when she got pregnant.
Yeah.
But in the book, I think
Gross.
she ended up being like...
I think she was like almost 20.
Yeah.
In present day. So we learned that. So he kind of like just a grimy, gross guy, very like demeaning towards a woman, like doesn't like give her like, I don't know, like just totally like pushes her down, like, you know, talks down to her. So at the shooting range, and then like he basically makes fun of her that she can't shoot, and like he's like, I'm gonna be the one to teach your son how to shoot, and she's like, don't shoot near our son, blah 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 blah. And then basically they get a huge fight, and then she's like, you know what, I'm gonna be like the mother and father of this kid, and I'm gonna be the one who teaches him how to shoot. So that's where she wants to learn how to shoot. So she goes to an actual school, learns how, climbs the rank, ends up being extremely good, gets drafted as a sniper.
But hold up, can we... Because in the beginning of the book, they introduced that they're introducing that, like, Lady Death, the snipers meeting the president of America.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And there's
flips.
a guy, there's a marksman who's meant to kill the president and blame it on Lady Death.
Yeah, so it keeps flipping between past and modern day, which modern day is when Roosevelt is the president of America. And then, so we flip between the perspective of Mila and then the perspective of the marksman who has this job to go kill the president. And he's going to blame, because then they introduce Lady Death, which is Mila, present day, that she's doing like a press tour about her success and trying to bridge. Roosevelt hired her basically to like kind of bridge the gap between like the tension between the US and the Soviet Union, basically. Mm-hmm. Saying that, hey, we all just have one common enemy, the Germans. Why, let's get along.
Yeah.
So yeah, it flips between that, and then it basically goes through like her journey in the war as a sniper, how like, you know, all the men are like, never take her seriously, she's not good, blah 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 blah, and then she always has to keep like count of how many people she's killed. And it shows like her first kill or whatever, and then how like it affects her, but she realizes that she can't let it affect her, and she just has to think of it, you know, just as an enemy. She can't let it get to her emotionally, because that's will make her a bad sniper.
She just got to go bang bang,
Move
because if she doesn't do it to them, they'll do it to her.
So she gets in like
survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
To do it to him.
Exactly.
Literally.
And then, so she ends up getting like a little squad. She becomes like, she needs to find a partner. And she sees someone reading a book in the field. I forget which book it was. Love, Peace, and War or something.
Oh, yeah.
Peace and War.
War and Peace.
War and Peace, which is a little ironic, right?
I know.
So first I see what you did there. Yeah. So then she ends up connecting with him. That ends up being Kostya. And they end up becoming partners. They got each other's backs.
Yeah. Yes. And he's Serbian, and they always refer to him as a
he's
wolf.
Siberian.
Siberian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. Why did I think Serbian?
It's very close, to be fair.
Really?
Yeah.
He's Siberian, and they always refer to him as a wolf.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's a nice detail.
Yeah.
She also always collects leaves for her son.
Yeah, and flowers.
That's so cute.
So cute.
And
she wants to teach him about...
Yeah.
She still wants to teach him from afar.
That's so cute. Sorry, I wrote that down and I was like, cute.
Cute.
So yeah, she ends up growing her little squad. She ends up meeting Alexei, who is Leon, in like a bathhouse, and like a sauna, and he does a little flirting with her,
and they kiss.
She kissed
right.
him,
Oh my gosh.
Right. As you know, a little flirtatious moment.
She thought he was just a civilian. But turns out he was like an officer.
Yeah. And then, of course, who ends up being part of her squad a couple pages down the line? Him. And
he's back, baby.
And he's also was childhood best friends with Kostya.
Yeah.
Whoa,
So like weird connections.
Not childhood, school.
Or school,
Like
yeah.
university, I think.
Oh, okay. Makes
was my
sense. Some kind of school.
Some kind.
I don't remember. And then her squad grows, and then I think there's like an old man in her squad, the Ukrainian old man who was like unbothered, and then they came and attacked him in the forest. The Germans
Killed his whole family.
Killed his family, and he's like, I know the forests. Let me in your squad. Like, I'll be helpful. That was another important, like, I think he was the only other like really important one in their squad. And they didn't really.
The rest of them barely got
yeah.
any screen time.
Yeah, but basically it just takes it was just a ton of war and like pretty much the whole book. It kind of follows them. I know that I think Mila got hurt twice really badly.
I think so, yeah.
Like
where she ended up in like the
hospital.
Yeah.
And the first time, and then where she reruns into her first husband, Alexei, who ends up being her doctor, and she realized still the same guy, hasn't changed, thinks he's gonna be like the hero of like the war kind of mentality. Same guy, same awful guy, basically.
Nothing good's coming from him.
Nothing changes.
And then there's like so they flip back to war, and then her press tour, and like while she's doing her press tour or whatever, like there's like a guy who's like following her around, and like so like obviously the Soviet Union wants them to present her as a way because they want America to join the war, the effort or whatever. So like there's just things that they want her to do, but then there's things that Americans want her to do and stuff like that. And then there's just like some random guy who's trying to court her and marry her and stuff, and it's weird. Yeah,
he's following to all like the stops because she's doing like a press tour around America, so he's following her to every single one. Yeah, asking her all this stuff, like big fan. Yeah, and then she's also got some death threats. Yeah. Present day on her tour, I forget what they were saying, but like
they're just like stuff like I'll kill you. You're an SLUT. Nothing good. And then go home, like kind of like go home, or like you're gonna die, stuff like that. Yeah. You know, the huge.
Yeah. So this is all happening in like the present day background. But yeah, past day, lots of battling. Like her kill count is like insanely high, insanely good, I guess.
Yeah. And like no one's respected. Like everyone's saying like her kill count's really high, but like they're always shocked that like she's not as high up in ranks as she should be.
Because she's not being treated the same because she's a woman.
Yeah. So
basically it's what the theme throughout like the war is in this book. Then I have some points being some random things. One thing that happened is that like she ran into one of her friends that I thought was a cool point that she knew before the war, and like the one that was like a dancer and like was so like judging her for becoming like a sniper and wanting to go in the war. Then like they meet again in the middle of the war, and like she lost her brother and is like totally like just not looking good and like in the war, and it was just like a parallel of like old life coming like to present day, and I thought that was a pretty cool point. A lot of double standards of women compared to men.
And then so like obviously, so she starts like her thing with Leon, I guess we're calling him. So they kiss or whatever, and then like he somehow becomes like he's like higher up, so he ends up being not like in charge of her platoon or whatever, but like he's linked in like the same battalion or something, whatever. And he's like flirting her up and all this stuff, and she's kind of eating it up, but she's not letting herself like kind of fall for him because she assumes that like, oh, he does this with everyone, or like,
and she just doesn't want to like do that with her squad.
Yeah, and then she was like,
aside.
She wanted to keep it business and cash separate, you know. But he eventually breaks her down, and then they fall in love. So cute. Yeah. And every great romance is started with, but so then they end up like falling in love and stuff. But she's still married to her first husband, Alexei.
He will not sign papers.
Yeah. So like they even pre-war she wanted to divorce him, but he just never showed up. So.
Yeah. I think so a lot of war, they have a lot of close calls. I think at one point she loses most of her squad. Yeah. And I think Kostin also got really badly injured.
That was the last one.
Oh, that was the last one. So then so then it was her husband Leon got really badly injured, and of course it ends up being her old husband Alexei that's operating on him. In the end, he does not make it. She ends up losing him. It like kind of breaks her down. Was it after? Did they go back to war after that?
Yeah.
For a bit, right?
Yeah. And then that's when she loses most of her platoon.
Okay, yeah, then that's when she loses everyone.
And then she gets shipped off.
Yeah, and then so then basically, so like the kind of like war stuff ends, and then it shows like the bridge, how it connects to the present day, that they're gonna send her like on the tour because her kill count's so high. She's actually being recognized now that she's like made a big impact in the war. So then she ends up going on the press tour to America. Somehow, some way, her first husband is also coming. I forget.
He like weaseled his way in because he got her name, like, because they had the same last name. So I think he was just trying to say like, oh, I have to be with my wife.
Scummy.
Yeah.
He just wants his name.
It's disgusting. I hated
and then
that
so Kostya also speaks English.
Yeah.
So he gets to come too with her as like her, I think, translator.
Yeah.
Advice
So we
kind
find
of
that out
stuff.
later. So like we don't when we're reading the first few chapters of her time in America, we don't know that Kostya's there with her. But later what happens is her platoon, essentially pretty much everyone dies. And then turns out that Kostya survived and he speaks English, so she had him, like, she kind of pulled some strings to have him come as a translator.
Yeah, and then obviously it's just a comfort to have her best friend
Of course.
come along to America with her when she also hates like the fame.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't want it. She doesn't like want to embrace it. I remember even like Leon was like you deserve it. Like go show like the inspiration, you know what I mean? And then like so then also between the Mila story, the marksman, and then there's also letters written by the first lady, so Roosevelt's wife, thrown in there kind of pretty much. I think after every marksman bit there was a letter, and it's basically showing her perspective of what's happening, saying that like President Roosevelt is like sick and not feeling well, and she knows that he gets like a lot of assassination attempts and like people are out to get him, so she's kind of working on his behalf, attending all these meetings, meeting Mila, going to the dinners with the Soviets and the Americans, like attending all these public events. So like we get her like wrapped up version of it, and then her and Mila actually interact in, I think, the bathroom. I'm pretty sure.
I cannot remember.
I remember that they interacted, and I thought like that was nice. And I have woman empowerment written down because they were like bonding over something. I forget why, but I was like, that's a nice little scene. So yeah. Then she gets a threat. She has a stalker, kind of like that guy following her. I have also written down that I think Alexei, her original husband, was trying to get back together with her, and I was like,
so gross.
Scum of the earth.
Yeah, he keeps trying to ask for a kiss.
Yeah.
When we give him a kiss. Gross.
Like, oh, hate that guy.
Literally
hate that guy. So yeah, it's basically now leading all to this one big like conference dinner kind of thing. I think it was the end of the press. Or end of the press, whatever dinner party thing. Yeah, so I think the president knows that he's kind of like being targeted, right? So there's a lot of high insecurity and stuff. And then it basically goes to this one big party. And the marksman is there at this party, camping out in the bushes, trying to get that shot. He's been waiting. I think he originally, so from when we read through the marksman's parts throughout the book, he's originally supposed to try to shoot him earlier, but he keeps for some reason chickening out, and like
that time the president didn't come out because he was sick. So then like they were like, so they marked it up to like, oh, he was sick, so he couldn't come out, so then he couldn't kill him. But like he wanted to kill him earlier, but not at this point. And then it also shows him kind of like because like he's gonna use Mila as like his cover, but it keeps kind of showing that he's kind of like so infatuated with her, like it's kind of getting him distracted off his game kind of thing. I think it's like his hatred towards her.
Yeah, he's like obsessed.
It's like he hates, like, but not even just that, it's like in the book, like you can literally tell that like he doesn't even believe that she killed anyone, so like he's letting the fact that she's a woman kind of like let his guard down, so he's kind of like, oh, it's an easy mark, like everything's gonna be so easy peasy, like she didn't even kill anyone, like I don't need to be afraid of her, all this stuff. So he's kind of like overlooking her, and like that's letting him, like that makes him slip too.
Because
he didn't even believe her until I think until like, so Can we tell the big reveal?
Oh, yeah.
So it turns out the marksman is the guy who was like trying to propose to her and like following her and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And at one point they all like have like a shootout, like a bunch of people at a gun range or whatever, because they want to see her skill. So like she shot, and then like I think up until that point the marksman did not believe that she could shoot, and then he saw her shoot and he was like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
So like she could shoot, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, they're at this party. He's in the bushes. Then all of a sudden, Mila gets this suspicion. She gets this gut feeling that she has that makes her so good. And she knows, and she spots the marksman in the bushes. She immediately tells, bring the president in. She saves his life, and then goes after the marksman, and then they get into a full-on, like, chase in the streets of wherever they ended up. I forget where it was.
And then they go into the forest.
They go into the forest and wherever they were, and then ends up being a little bit of a shootout. Bang, bang. She shoots him in the eye, right?
Yep. She got him. She got him good. She played him at his own game. The hunter became the hunted. Let me tell you. That was an intense scene. I was like, of course she's gonna win.
Yeah. But
like, let's go. Let's get him. You know, sick of him. But then so this was probably the best part. Like, I enjoyed this plot twist. So she kills a marksman. She's like disheveled. It's cold out. You know. I think she was like muddy, wet, all of the above. She's cold. She also has to use her fur coat to get the marksman. So she's chilly. She's in a dress, a beautiful yellow satin dress. And then she goes back because so he accidentally got in cahoots with the marksman.
They were working together.
They were working together, and he claims he didn't know that what the plan was going to be or whatever. So he was like trying to make it up by driving her to the forest to follow the marksman or whatever. Then she comes out to like go back, right? And then Alexei tries to shoot her, and I was like, gasp. I'm not shocked in that sense, like that he would do that.
Classic Alexei.
But classic. But I was still shocked because I was like, nice. I like that twist, you know? So then she's in a shootout with him, and then obviously she gets him in the end. Of course.
Like, why would you even go up against this, like, her?
Like, what a
crazy.
Because
Like,
he thinks he's the best.
Yeah.
Like, what a
buffoon. The egotistical male.
Typical man.
Typical
egotistical. But yeah, so then she bang, gets the marksman, gets Alexei. She's free. She goes back home. She goes back to the press conference. She obviously looks disheveled. And then, like, they all kind of agree to, like, cover it up. Yeah. Because it's kind of like an assassination on the president, makes him look weak, and, like, blah, 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 all this stuff. So they all kind of sweep everything under the rug in one big pretty bow. And then, obviously, we know that America joined the war. And then we go from there. And then there's just, like, a little bit about the end.
Oh, yeah, we forgot to say that she ends up falling for Kostya.
Right.
Like, at the press conference, because I guess it was, like, that was her original, shooting partner, but then he was friends with her second husband.
Bit messy.
Yeah, so a little bit, but then that's why she was hesitant, but then in the end, she was just like, YOLO, fam.
Yeah. She's like, why not?
Gets together with Kostya, yeah. And then there's a little epilogue at the end, told us, I forget, to be honest, but
so turns out Kostya was also, he was half American, so like his grandma was American, and like at that time, like, big no for Soviets and Americans, like, so like he probably would have been like murdered or killed or whatever if they found out, so like he had to keep it low key, but then obviously it somehow came out, so then like Mila used all her power, because by then she became like really famous, and like she was essentially the reason that like Russia got the help, or the Soviet Union got the help from America, whatever. So she uses all her power to kind of like keep Kostya there and like alive. But it's just that like I don't think she was ever allowed to like associate with him fully, or like take his last name, something like that, something along those lines of that. And then like Slavka, like the kid, obviously was raised by them two together. And then like the Miss Roosevelt. Roosevelt's wife comes, Eleanor, that's her name. Eleanor comes to visit her, so they like kind of kept in touch.
That's cute.
But obviously like at that time it was still like the Cold War stuff, so they weren't like BFFs. Obviously they can't really write to each other and stuff. But she came to visit, and then Roosevelt died before the war was over, like the man. So that was kind of a bummeroni for her. And then like that's pretty much, they wrapped it up with that. So did she end up teaching at like a shooting college or something? Or
I think so.
That up?
I think so, yeah.
So and then she lived off of fame of being a war hero. But
Go Mila.
Yeah, that's the book.
Just like that.
Front. Yeah, I think a lot of the themes with all the historical fictions are kind of the same, like along like the woman empowerment kind of line. And I know that some people are like it's too much, blah blah blah. I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's like different. I think most books don't really have, or like especially like I guess in history. I know in history it's always kind of been about males, you know. So to have like a twist where we see it from like female perspectives, I think is really cool.
Yeah,
representation. Exactly. Yeah, I really like that.
And it is important though, because like I think people forget that like I think it's America and like I guess like at the time Soviet Union like they're both like the most women present or women heavy armies. So it's like it's not like a lot of people like chalk it up to like being like, oh, there's more men. It's like yeah, but in these two armies, not by much.
Yeah,
like
they just weren't represented.
Yeah, and they don't get the glory that like they deserve and stuff. So, but that's what I like that too. Sorry, just one thing. So in the beginning, the marksman was like talking about how like he got paid in like gems, and he got they were like uncut stones or whatever, like blah, and I just said I was like can't stop thinking about uncut gems.
That's so funny.
Because I was reading this in May when it was still kind of like more trending, and then I was like I couldn't like he kept referencing his stupid diamonds, and I was like, can we stop?
Oh
like
my God. Do you think she predicted that?
Could you imagine?
Kate Quinn.
Because I don't think he ever said uncut gems. I think he said uncut diamonds. But I kept thinking uncut gems, so that made me laugh.
Didn't she give?
Hold on, can I see the book for a second?
Didn't the huntsman marksman give her a necklace of some sort? I remember, and then like that's how something she like clocked something, right? He like slipped. He slipped and gave her a necklace of some sort.
Oh, like a gems or what?
To tease her, or like with a note or something. And
it was the note. Yeah, it was. She recognized the writing of the threats that she was getting.
Yeah, because he gave her like a necklace.
Yeah,
because when he was obsessed with her.
Not to be rude, it wouldn't take her that long. Like not to be rude, if she the woman that was presenting this book would not have like not immediately noticed that. Yeah, like no offense, but. Especially because like the death threats like rattled her. Yeah. So I'm like, why would she not notice it right at all? Something I said I have a bone to pick on page 43, but I never. I literally do not know.
I don't want to know what it is.
I genuinely don't know what bone I'm picking with it. It seems like a very tame page.
Just like the most standard page.
Yeah. Something growled your bones there.
Yeah, enough for me to write
43.
it. Yeah. It's so boring. This page is so boring. But whatever. Nothing enough. What else? So at one point, Kostya and Mila are sitting in a tree. And like I thought they were gonna kiss. So I literally wrote Kostya and Mila sitting in a tree, KISSING. It made me die of laughter. What again? Okay, so a classic. So this bit is Roxanne's retelling of the story, or Roxanne Rewritten. Oh, that's what this segment is. Yes. If I could rewrite this book, making Alexei Pocket Square. So they always reference Pocket Square as the person who hired the marksman to kill. I wish it was some sort of plot twist that we knew Pocket Square, dive more into that side of it. We're kind of like, because it's like, why would you pin it on her? Like, not to be rude, it doesn't make like. In the grand scheme of things, no one would believe that she would do it because she's heavily like. There's definitely so many people watching her at all times. She wouldn't be able to get away with it. Like it's so stupid. Like to me, that doesn't make any sense. So I was like, that would be so cool. Or like a double plot twist. Kostya was Pocket Square because when I found out he could speak English,
that would be so
crushing. Yeah, which would be perfect.
Oh my God, that would actually be so heartbreaking.
Right? Wouldn't that?
I don't know if I could handle that book. That would crush me.
But yeah, that would be kind of cool. And then I was like, I laughed when she knocked Alexei's binoculars into the water and told him to jump for them. And I was like, I literally laughed out loud. I like that a lot. I know, I just wrote, Kostya better not be Pocket Square. Because again, I also wouldn't be able to handle it, but it would be such a good plot twist.
Great plot twist.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Like, we knew who, or like, even like worse, like something was like if we had like that level betrayal. Because like from Alexei, like trying to shoot her made sense. But like, you know, like obviously I didn't see that coming, so I like that, but and then I said I hate the way the pages are set in the book. So if you physically feel the book, these pissed me off. Because when you if you look, so like it's literally going like like this, and I hate it because when I had to flip, like it goes like this, and then the longest page goes, so like the whole chapter goes, and I was like, enough. So yeah, that I didn't like. So that the physical part of the book made me
so maybe you get the ebook if you're gonna read it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd recommend that over that. But yeah, honestly, so like it was still better than I thought it was gonna be. But there was some good parts, some lulls for sure.
Yeah, there was I was surprised. I was trying to say surprised and shocked at the same time. I was surprised at how much there were, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, but like good. It was good enough that like I want to read her other stuff, because I think it was just the fact that like what it's talking about kind of beefed me like in the wrong direction. So I was like, it was very hard for me to enjoy the actual writing. But overall, honestly, pretty good book. Like, decent read.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, I recommend for you guys and for anyone watching to read her other one, The Alice Network, and to also read the one called The Nightingale. That's my favorite of all time.
Okay, so can I borrow from you?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Yeah. And then so the author, recommend the book, so. But no, I like the love story between Leonia and what do you call him?
Leon.
Between Leon and Mila. Like I shipped them so hard when he died. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that hurt.
Like I felt the pain in Mila, which was like, that's why I was like, I liked like this author. So I was like, she really portrayed like the love that Mila had for him and stuff. And like the pain when he died. It was just like just everything else was just hard for me to grasp. But it was damn, like that got me when he died. I was like, what?
Yeah, didn't see that coming.
What? And just like in the middle of the book, I was like, we just got him. And he was like such a good guy.
They weren't even married.
Literally, and he was so funny. Like, come on.
So sad.
You know? He cracked many jokes with her, and I respected it.
But yeah, guys, that was The Diamond Eye. That was my pick for the past month. Hope you all enjoyed. If you haven't read it, go read it. See if you agree. See what you would rate it. Let us know. We want to know.
Yes.
You can leave any comment in the description about it.
Exactly.
Not in the description, in the comments.
In the
Sorry.
in the description.
Please edit the description. Thank you.
I'll
edit in all the
details
comments
down below. But yeah, that was my book. Shall we move on to next month's book?
Ooh. Fun fact, I've already read this book. I finished it.
Oh my gosh, she's too fast.
I know.
Okay, the next month's book is my pick. It's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And this is another huge TikTok one, which is where I get all my books from. Should I read the back?
Yeah.
Okay, at the top. A tale of gods and goddesses, kings and queens, immortal fame, and the human heart. Achilles, the best of all the Greeks, son of the cruel sea goddess Thetis, and the legendary king Peleus, oh no, I'm in trouble, is strong, swift, and beautiful, irresistible to all who meet him. Patroclus.
Oh shoot, because I borrowed the audiobook, so I heard his name.
Patroclus is an awkward young prince, exiled from his homeland after an act of shocking violence. Brought together by chance, they forge an inseparable bond, despite risking the god's wrath. They are trained by the centaur Chiron,
I think. So close. So close.
In the arts of war and medicine, but when word comes that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped, all the heroes of Greece are called upon to lay siege to Troy in her name. Seduced by the promise of a glorious destiny, Achilles joins their cause, and torn between love and fear for his friend, Patroclus follows. Little do they know that the cruel fates will fates, capital F is a person, will test them both as never before and demand a terrible sacrifice.
Have you never read any?
No.
The fates gave it away when you're like, that's a person, but no, it's like it's a group of people who tell the future.
No. Okay. To be honest.
Oh, you guys are gonna.
No, but I do read a lot of Greeks, like this stuff.
I know, but just the ideas of it.
I'm excited. I read a couple of like fantasy books where they tie in like the Greek mythology before. So I've enjoyed that. I went through a Greek mythology phase back then. I'm a little history nerd, so
Just a bit.
excited to see the connections.
I read a lot of Greek mythology stuff. So like I read like pretty much every single Percy Jackson.
True.
Like the main because they had like 1,000 series that came out of it. I read like the main one, and then I almost fully finished like one of their side ones or whatever. It's so good. I love it. I love this kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's our next month's book. Make sure to tune in. So subscribe so you don't forget. Leave a comment down below what book, because I'm picking my book for the month after. So leave some recommendations if any of them intrigue me. Maybe your book will become my book's my recommendation for the month.
I like that.
So don't miss out. And yeah,
Interactive.
make sure you leave a comment down below. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with our thoughts? How did you like the book? What would you rate it?
Exactly.
Yes.
We want to know.
Exactly.
Anyways.
We're all babes together.
Exactly.
So make sure you babe with us.
Yes.
Exactly.
Be a babe.
Heck yeah.
Join the babe
Join
community.
Join the babe community, baby. Let's go. Anyways, guys, make sure we'll see you guys next month. And with that,
Babes
Babes
out.
out.